Is personal branding important? So Craig, obviously you've got an amazing personal brand and you've had it for a long time as well. You was probably one of the first I seen properly scale out and build a great personal brand. So how important do you think personal branding is?
I think in today's day and age, it's very important. You know, I personally, let's say my website got wiped out, taken down, hacked, I forgot to renew it and someone pinched it. It's not going to be death for me as a business because I've got a personal brand that, you know, I can go to my YouTube and make money. I can go to my social media, make money and you know, stuff that we spoke about in other sessions. So I think building that personal brand and building that trust and everything has been massively beneficial. It's been good for me. And I'm not saying I was the first person to ever do it because there was obviously people I looked at and they were doing it and stuff like that. But everyone now it seems to be want to build a personal brand and thinks it's all easy and it's all quick, big money and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's massively important in today's market. You see influencers out there building personal brands and, you know, they're making money and stuff like that. So I think it just creates, again, opportunity and everything else that just leads you down certain paths. And it's been very, very good for me. But obviously you've done it as well. I know you used to say, I don't want to talk, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. And then obviously in years gone past, you've started to dabble a bit more in it and obviously cranking out all your YouTube videos. Probably only about 2 or 3 years you've been doing that shit, right? Whereas before you're like, I don't want to talk to anyone.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, like, I'd be curious to go, why the hell did you decide to start?
I feel like I was forced into it in the fact that I wanted to build brands. And I always understood the importance of building brands, but I wasn't bothered about the light being shined on me. I wanted to shine the light on the actual corporate brands and the business brands. And then one time I looked to sell one of the assets and I didn't get the multiplier that I wanted. And the main reason was they didn't know the who was behind it. They didn't know that they could trust me the way I'd built the systems. In fact, it was a negative stigma of what actually happened because when they searched me, the only thing that they could find was a video of me in Amsterdam in a coffee shop talking about SEO with Matt Diggity and a few others, and was talking about PBNs. And I got asked the question on that video, do you think PBNs are good? And I'm like, yeah, they're really powerful, which they were really powerful. And it affected my multiplier because they thought I was hiding PBNs and that was propping up the site. Yeah. And I was like, but I didn't use any PBNs for this site. I'm like, well, we don't know. You're quite sophisticated in what you're doing. I'm like, there was no PBNs built for it. If there was, I'd tell you, otherwise it could affect my earnout and stuff. Yeah. But anyway, it then just opened up the eyes almost of like online reputation management of being, I don't want that being seen for my personal brand. It's not good for my personal brand. I want to be seen as being an entrepreneur and help businesses grow. So I thought I may as well just take ownership of the messaging that I want to deliver for me. Because if I don't sort my personal brand out, I'm just allowing somebody else to deliver that message. And I'm like, no, I'm going to be proactive with the exact messaging, exact word for word with what I want Gemini and ChatGPT. I mean, it was prior to all the AI came along, but the way the AI overviews pop up and the way Google shows who I am and what I do, I want to make certain it's my messaging about me and not somebody else's.
Not mine.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
I would paint a horrible picture. Like I said, what we spoke about, I'm consistently telling lies about you and making people think you're a monster or fucking whatever. And I just do that for fun. But yeah, you don't want someone coming in and be able to paint a certain narrative of you. And I think that's also something to consider. Like you say, it could affect your earnout or trust. So there's so many other benefits other than making money that it could harm. It cost you money.
Yeah, I think another massive one for me is like attracting actual A-player staff. The amount of people that reach out to me and want jobs, saying I want to work with you.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't have known they wanted to work with me if it wasn't for my personal brand.
Yeah.
You attach your brand now to any new kind of AI tool and it's going to explode. Why? Because you've already got the big following. So the minute you turn around on your TikToks, on Instagram, on YouTube, and you promote this brand, straight away you've got eyes on the new brand and what you have. So you can go into any new business and corporate brand and with what the branding that you have from a personal point of view, boost straight away.
Yeah.
It explodes. So can connect the dots there, and it's great. But anyone who's watching this, right? So they're watching this now and they're saying, all right, I get it. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner, and I want a personal brand. I've not really got any exposure. What are the first steps to building a personal brand that you say they should be maybe looking to do?
It really depends on what kind of budget and time and energy you've got. Like, we've both travelled the world speaking at conferences. That costs money. PR, we've done PR. We've spent the time on YouTube putting the, hundreds or thousands of hours into that, as well as, the 20-hour flights to Chiang Mai, paying for a hotel for a week or two in Chiang Mai as well. So there's a lot of cost that goes to that. There's obviously a lot of quick wins, in terms of building a personal brand. Going to YouTube, it doesn't cost you a huge amount of money to get a camera and, do all of that kind of stuff. So it really depends on how hard you want to hit it. Like, I've built my personal brand over probably the last 10 years. Probably 11, actually. 2015 is when I gave up the agency and I thought, I want to do this. But obviously I had to then do all those local meetups and everything, which is where I bumped into you in Chester, like 2016, 2017. And then I started to get better speaking events in 2018, Chiang Mai, which you obviously helped with. Now, I wouldn't have got, and I've told this story anyway before, I think, in other podcasts, I wouldn't have got Chiang Mai if it wasn't for you. Because I'd done the event, because I was working for a travel company in Chester at the time, and I used to meet up with Andy, drink water, and we used to just sit and chat shit, and then we're like, let's do a meetup, and we done that thing on that meetup.com, and 16 people turned up in the first one. We were just having a beer every last Thursday of every month, which is when I was down to see them. And then from there, we done the meetup where I met you, which then led to speaking at Chiang Mai. Obviously, I'd done Brighton SEO and various other ones as well, blagging my way in there. But then just things happened really quickly. And then obviously being in Chiang Mai, you get more exposure. And then before you know, boom, you're doing this and you're getting asked to speak there and getting asked to work with this brand and that brand. So it all kind of happened kind of fairly quickly for me, but I wasn't against going to Chiang Mai and trying shit out. I was unknown to Chiang Mai. I know you guys went for several years before me, and spoke highly of it. And I seen all the pictures, and I get all the stuff I've spoken about and other things. You get the FOMO, and you're going, "They bastards!" And I want to go to Chiang Mai now and be in the tuk-tuks and get pissed up, and I enjoy all of that experience. An experience for me. It wasn't necessarily anything else, but it was all about the networking. And I think that's something else I would say to people is it's not always about what you know, it's sometimes who you know. And I can't even remember how I got in the back door, but I know you stuck a word in to dig it for me. You need to get this boy on and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes it's just who you know gets you in and nailed on there, because I was an unknown guy at that point. So it's networking. I think it's a big thing that doesn't cost you a huge amount of money. And go to, you've done networking at events and all that, and you used to come to Chester to do that very thing. So yeah, I think that networking would be that. YouTube are kind of low cost things, but obviously from there there's.
What would you say then for building a personal brand, for getting on other people, either building your own podcast and getting guests on and interviewing others, or trying to get on other people's podcasts as well, just to try and get in front of their following, to try and start building that up?
It's hard to get on other people's podcasts to leverage their following. So I get people come to me all the time, Craig, I want this guy in your podcast, I want that guy in your podcast. I don't know who you are from Adam, so you're not fucking giving on mine. You're going to have to earn my trust first before you're allowed to speak.
Yeah.
And if you came to me and I didn't know you, I'd be like, no fucking way. You're rough as fucking toast. I don't know what you're going to say. And so you're going to have to earn trust, and you're going to have to make connections, and you're going to have to schmooze someone, and you're going to have to bribe, or whatever your angle is in. You're going to have to work that. You can't just ping people and go, I'm coming on your podcast. No, you're not. I don't know whether you actually make money or not. I don't know whether you're trustworthy or not, or you're going to say shit that could get me into trouble or whatever. So the podcast person's got all of that to contend with. And it's the same with you. You get people going, I want to be in your podcast with you, and you're like, well, what's in it for me?
Yeah.
If you've got nothing to bring to the table, no good jokes, no good banter, no good information, stuff. So you're going to have to offer a lot of value up front and build yourself up from the ground up. And I think that's the hard part. You can't just say, here's a podcast booking agency who are going to get you on all of these top tier podcasts. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, you got to definitely build it. I think, like, I say, who did it a great way. Matt Diggers it. So when he was not known at all within the industry, all what he did, he hanged about on Reddit, Facebook groups. Facebook groups was probably the biggest one he was doing. And what he was doing, he was looking for questions that people had. And it was going, could I create a blog post onto this or create a video on this? And it would never answer the question with a comment, with a reply. He would always go, okay, there's enough volume. I can create a post on this, do it in depth or do a video on it. And he'd always post the actual post or the video. Yeah. What started to happen, the flywheel started to go, because when somebody else in another group would ask a very similar question, they would share an in-depth video or an in-depth blog post. And just by literally churning out, spending several hours every single day in networking, seeing people's problems, answering those problems with a good answer, bit by bit, then he started to get the trust, or you want to speak to them, or you want to speak to them. And obviously from there, then the rest is history. He's built multiple brands, had a nice, successful conference and stuff like that. But yeah, it's crazy. But like you said, it's difficult when you're first starting out to build a personal brand. Yeah, it is difficult. If you could only choose 3 platforms, 3 social media platforms to do personal branding on, which 3 would you choose? Let's say just for building out to be an SEO consultant.
YouTube's number 1. Probably LinkedIn would be second. I'm not a big user of LinkedIn just because I think people talk pish on it. It's just very, very salesy, but I think exposure-wise and numbers-wise and business owner-wise and everything, you're probably in the right place there. I've got to say Facebook's always been... I would probably argue with myself a little bit going, you know what, Facebook has been good for me personally. I don't think I enjoy Facebook as much as I used to, but Facebook, I would probably say, still got to be up there for me. A lot of SEOs are on Facebook. If we look at our mutual connections, it's just fucking outrageous. So I'd probably say those 3. What about you?
I'd say it was a bad question that I asked you. When I asked you the question, then I'm thinking, it should just be all platforms. Like, you should just, with AI now, it's so easy now to be able to send the same intent, but throughout all platforms.
I would kind of disagree on that. I don't think Instagram does much for me. Like, from our SEO.
Well, do you know what's really interesting, right? On Meta, both Facebook and Instagram in the last 12 months have been really growing on index pages. And actually, by getting the words in the images that's on Instagram, can actually now start manipulating the LLMs. So just for that reason, I'd be like, okay, let's grab that, let's put it into an image, let's put the text in the status, and then let's false index it. But I agree, I feel like trying to grow the audience on Instagram,
it's a slog, man.
It's a slog, yeah, it's sad.
I'll tell you a funny story around that. So obviously I had my health issues last year. I'm not going to document what exactly those are because it's a bit grim. But after Casra's conference last year, I don't know why, but I just decided to put in a ChatGPT, has Craig Campbell been ill recently? Because everyone kept asking me how I was doing and all that stuff, and it came up saying, yep, he's been ill, he's been in hospital, blah, 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 blah. And it was pulling from an Instagram post that I'd put when I was in hospital.
Oh, really?
So when you say that, yeah, you're right. That happened with me, and it's like, yep, he's been in hospital, and here's the proof, or here's the source. And I'm like, oh. So, from that, your point is exactly valid, but just posting on Instagram, I just don't think...
From a following, I get it. It's like, the hardest.
It's the hardest one out of them all. So, and I also feel that Twitter's kind of toxic. I've also found that TikTok is not great for SEO stuff. I just think TikTok would work really well if you were trying to be an influencer, or maybe selling cars, or selling something a bit more visual. I just think most people on TikTok are just like, I don't even know what SEO is. So maybe AI will be different for TikTok. So there's just certain platforms where I'd be like, I'm not going to spend that much time pushing them just for that reason alone, but it's probably wise to use them all.
Yeah, for sure. Anyone who's watching this, we hope you like the episode on is personal branding important? If you think we've missed anything, any platform like Threads or podcasting circuits and stuff like that you think's really important for the future of personal brands, leave a comment in the comment section. Craig, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks again, mate.